They're experienced and they're perimeter oriented and they're penetration oriented. They like to really get to the basket and they're very good at that. They're athletic, they're quick. So it'll be different. You know, the Niagara game was really about an inside kid. They had, two really good inside kids, and these guys are their best players are on the perimeter. Really, what we're more concerned about here with the Navy is penetration, and penetration will create kickouts for shooters. So we want to stop the penetration early, but they're also, I would say, they're very good penetrators, and we need to be able to stop their penetration to the basket without fouling. And we need to have early help, because if we get in too deep to help, then the kick to the shooters, it's really hard to get to them. So we're emphasizing in practice is penetration defense, being able to contain your player one-on-one for at least 2 slides, and then taking them to your help, and then having our help be early in the gap, not deep in the gap, but up on the line in the gap, and then be able to recover to the shooter. So I would say our emphasis is on penetration and defense right now. Well, I think we're going to learn a lot about them in this, stretch, and we will be able to take, what we learn and apply that come conference season. And, I'll be able to make some adjustments based on what I see and how certain people respond to the travel part of this. This initial trip, it'll be our, we went for 1 game to Evansville,
right. Yeah.
And now this will be a 2-game stretch, so it's a longer trip. It's more taxing because there's back-to-back games, and then we'll return. We have to get up. But first of all, our first game's at 8:15 at night because of the football game, and so we have an 8:15 game, and then we turn around with a 2 o'clock game, and we have a shoot around the next morning at like 8 in the morning, and so it's going to require us to be mentally tough. And we'll get up for that shoot around, we'll do the shoot around, we'll play the game, and then we don't fly out until 10 something at night, return to campus at like 11:30, 12 o'clock, and then we're home 1 day.
Yeah.
And then we get on a bus and we spend 7 hours on a bus to go to Eastern Illinois. And then we play an earlier game that day, but we'll bus all the way back, and so it'll be a late night again, and we'll be able to see how we respond to that. But we'll spend this week talking about those type of things, and getting our minds right for that, so it's not a shock, oh, we got to get up early again, So yeah, we'll talk our way through that so that they can get prepared for it, and then we'll learn, and then I'll know in the future what to expect at our shoot-arounds and what we need to be talking about prior to conference games, based on how they handle this situation. So one of the things that Krishna, Krishna brings us experience, and she's that kid that everybody that loves to see her have some success, because she's sat on the bench for 3 years, and now she has an opportunity to have a little bit bigger role. And and one of the biggest things I think you'll see is if you look at her statistics in previous years, early in the year she's hitting shots, and before in games, because in practices I think she's felt comfortable enough to make shots, but then when we get into the games, the ball wouldn't go in. And that was sort of our concern with her, is that game time, she just didn't have the game experience, and she had some nerves, and just wasn't the same feel. And this year she's a senior, and so I sense a different attitude from her. I sense what have I got to lose? I'm gonna go out there and just play. And it's really, she's 10 for 19 from the field, shooting 52%, 53%, and 44 from the 3. When she comes in, that's what we're looking for her to do, is if somebody drives and kicks it to her, take that shot. Mariah had an opportunity when Sade was out with the hamstring, and Lex was touch and go, because some days she was feeling good, some days she wasn't, and she got a lot of minutes. She seized the opportunity and she played really well during that time, so she solidified a spot we know we can go to Mariah. I do not have a problem putting her in the game. I don't think we lose anything when we sub her. And when Sade and Lex returned full strength, it did create a trickle down, and Mariah's minutes went down a bit, and so I think she's adjusting to that. But we're one tweak of something away from needing her back out there. So Nick has been, the kid, the rare kid that you recruit in. I saw her play a lot in the summertime and with her high school, and actually this year I've seen things out of her that I've never seen from her, and so this is a rare situation where the kid is actually better than you think they are when you recruit them, and her game grows. I mean, she's very serious about the game, and we had recruited her primarily as a shooter, but she can do so much more than that, and she's able to play some one for us. She's able to play the two. She's a leader. She's communicative with the rest of the group. She does a really nice job. And what has happened, I would say, from the outside looking in, if I had to give you one factor as to why her game has changed, it would be that as a freshman, she came off the bench. She wasn't sure of her role. She was, trying to make a difference, but not sure how much she should shoot or how much she shouldn't, and what she was and her playing minutes were up and down based on what other kids were doing, and so she wasn't able to feel the confidence and comfort level there is with knowing that you've got a spot and this is what you're expected to do. So this year, when we put her in the top group, and we just made it very clear to her, this is our expectations, and then she exceeded those, and now she has more responsibilities when it comes to both offensively and defensively than we originally had expected of her. So just really excited about how she's coming along, and she's not, I think if you asked her, she would tell you she's not played a great game yet.